Hello, welcome to the I'm Angry, Annoyed, and Amused podcast. You're on with Mike. So next to me is Matt.
What's up?
Over there is Johnny.
Hello.
And across the table is the other Mike.
Hello.
Oh, did you guys?
Yeah, you stole
What happened? What happened to Yo Yo Yo?
Johnny just changes it every week.
Wow,
I changed
that's
it.
kind of. I was waiting for it too.
Me too. I was waiting
Never
for
came.
it.
I know. I want to mix it up a little bit today.
Okay.
No? Go
Mm.
wild.
You didn't mix it up. You just copied
All right.
him.
No, I did it first, so he copied me.
So I got one today
Okay.
to get it started though, just because it's fresh in my mind. Because I literally just watched it before coming over here. I watched the. It's called Blackfish. Is the name of it. It's about sort of sea. It's not SeaWorld specific. It mostly is SeaWorld. There's another Sea Land is also mentioned in Canada, but it's about Tilikum, who was the old orca. No, not old. It was years ago. Who killed I think they said 7.
Was it that many? I thought it was like 3.
The thing it was confusing because they moved them around. There was in the documentary there was there was definitely one at his original place, and then at least one, I think 2 at SeaWorld. SeaWorld was obviously the big one that caused and a national, it was a big news story
I don't remember.
years ago. I think it was, I don't know, 2000s. Do you remember, other Mike?
I'm going to look it up. because I
Okay,
don't
for
remember
years.
anything.
I don't remember when it was.
I have no idea what you're talking
Well,
about.
the whale,
But pretty much
the
just
whale
whale.
itself died in 2017
Okay.
of a bacterial lung infection.
Yeah, they didn't kill him,
No, I know.
which is crazy.
So they say.
Well, maybe, but they didn't put him down like a dog bites somebody, and they put the dog down for no reason. Not no reason. It's not good to bite people, but they don't really. From what I understand, there's really not they don't have a long leash as far as no pun intended. For if a dog your dog, if it were to bite me, I could just
Yeah.
have it put down.
Which,
Right?
Well,
Like,
I
I
guess
don't-
because you can train a dog. You can't really train a whale. I mean, I guess you
Well,
can.
that
Well,
was
that was
they
the whole
thought
point of
they
SeaWorld.
thought they could for a
That
long
was-
time, and they mostly could. What was so weird, what stood out to me about it, because I had heard about this, but I don't even know if I ever went to SeaWorld. What does it say? What year he killed the girl?
Yeah,
Did you look at it?
2010.
Okay, so I could have gone, I guess, to SeaWorld then, but I don't know. As a kid, I feel like it was already
Well, how old are you in 2010? 13-ish?
yeah, give or take.
Yeah, you had gone to SeaWorld prior to that.
So I had
So you
gone.
probably
we
actually
went
saw
when I was a
You
kid.
probably saw Tilikum. Yeah.
Oh, maybe crazy, but I guess as a kid I didn't think much of it. But then I knew, I guess, by the time high school, I guess I don't remember it happening in 2010, but I knew that had happened at some point. Like I said, it was a big story, and I think my initial reaction, and what probably a lot of people have, is these are wild animals. It's more so like the Sigmund and Freud thing that I don't think was anybody that surprised. I mean, that was before my time too, but my thought is, yeah, if you work with lions, tigers,
Bears,
bears,
oh my.
yeah, but if you work with any of these
Sorry.
animals and then suddenly one day you're killed, I'm not surprised.
think-
It's not good,
I think
but
we-
I'm not shocked.
I
Yeah.
think we take more. What's the word I'm looking for?
Precaution?
We take them more for granted. That, I don't feel those people are in danger. I bet you they know they're in danger more than we know.
I think
The
they're
trainers?
dangerous.
Yeah,
Like in
they're there
general
for a
of
show,
any
but
animal?
but
Of
they
any
know-
animal?
They're dealing with these animals all the time.
Yeah.
They do have a certain trust with them.
Yeah,
But I think deep down the trainers know that. what
Well,
they're
I feel
dealing
like it's opposite.
with. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I think it's the opposite.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
never go
they
there.
take it for
I
granted.
always think even if you go to a circus, you always think everything's gonna be fine. Then you don't.
I don't
you're
think
not going
I don't
there-
expect it, but I always when the
That's what
high
I'm
wire
saying. You're
act,
not
I'm like,
go-
oh, they could die.
You're not going there for Gladiator, right? You're not going because you think the lion's gonna try and kill somebody. You go there because you think you're gonna see the show. And I think
Yeah.
the trainers and stuff have a certain amount of respect for these animals because they know their power, right? That's what I think. I could be wrong. But
Well-
that's my thought.
Well, what I was gonna say was very interesting about, because I guess I never watched this documentary. Definitely, I might have watched another one about killer whales in captivity and whatnot. But what was so weird is specifically the whale Tilikum that ended up killing at least 2 people. I think more, at least one more. Yeah, if you can look that up, because maybe. You know what it might have been? There was another whale that killed another person. The caption of the movie might have just said more than Tilikum
Yep.
himself, but nonetheless. But when they went back and they looked at sort of the history of this whale, it seemed like it wasn't even most whales didn't kill their trainers. This whale had
Two trainers he killed.
okay, so one at the old place, one at the new place, or both in SeaWorld, it said.
You were looking for a lot of information.
Well, I'm just I'm saying because I watched it, but I didn't hear if there was a specific. It seemed like it was a larger problem
a little bit of stuff.
because he didn't die till late. It's not like they killed him when he killed the girl.
to the train. And a third person, Daniel Dukes.
Okay.
Daniel Dukes.
Daniel Dukes was suspected to have jumped into the thing.
Oh, right, not a trainer. It was like a
mean,
guy.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
jumped in,
so-
you deserve it.
For sure. Well, but the thing is, somebody did deserve to get killed over what happened to this whale. It was just not the trainers,
Right.
you know?
Mhm.
And they're the ones in the
You-
they're the
you
ones in the
think
water
somebody
with the
deserved
whale.
to have been killed.
100%. If you watch this thing, so not only, right, it's one thing to have a whale, like, you know, killer whale specifically, trapped in a cage and all that. Like, you know, general anti-zoo, like, SeaWorld scenario. It doesn't seem like it's good for, especially for, like, large, smart animals, right? It's one thing to have a fish in a tank. It's another thing to have, like, a massive whale in a 20-foot.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? But then not only that, the first place that this whale was, which was Sea Land in Canada, they were openly abusive, apparently. And also, not only that, but what they would do as part of their training is they would punish. So they would have like the whale that was already trained and was trying to train with it Tillicum. And if Tillicum messed up, they would punish
the
both
other whale.
whales. But the whale, they're smart enough animals to get that. So the other two whales would attack and injure like by his own like people literally.
Right.
And he was like all scarred up. They called it tooth scraping, something like this. There's some word they used, but where the other whales would like intentionally not kill it, just cause like bodily harm to it and like bully it. But like
Well,
day in
bullying.
and day night, they slept in the same
I saw
thing.
a thing about that
It's
the
insane.
other day. It was about monkeys. That they trained
Like the
these
trained
monkeys.
ones?
Yeah, like they every time
Like the
monkeys,
circus ones.
Every time they went up a tree or something, they would get punished.
Really?
And then after a while, they let more monkeys in that didn't know anything about it. And if those monkeys tried to go up the tree to get the banana, the monkeys beat up those other monkeys.
Oh yeah, it's like an
Type
old
of thing.
experiment.
I guess
That's like a psychological experiment.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But it must be a way of like it sounds similar to what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, to use another
You
animal
know, use the
to
other
do it.
animal to teach him that if they do wrong, if he does wrong, you get punished.
Yeah,
So stop him from doing wrong.
yeah,
Well, he got even with two people in the end, unfortunately.
yeah. Well, that's
And
the
it's
thing.
just,
What was
you know,
sad
we
is
talked
it
about
wasn't
this-
them.
We talked about this with the zoo stuff, right? You know, do you like animals in captivity or not? Like, even the animals in the zoo don't have the space that they would have in their natural habitat, but you love to see them, you know? They do a lot of this under the guise of, you know, we're doing research on them and stuff like that, but can you really research a whale living in a, you know, a tiny little enclosure?
So that's one of those things. They were giving off wrong information about the whales during this whole thing. SeaWorld was pretty much giving false information. They would say that the natural lifespan of orcas was 25 to 30 years and that their whales in captivity live to like mid 30s in order to say like they actually do better in long term, which was a complete lie. Like totally just a lie. In the wild,
Misinformation.
females
We
live
call that misinformation.
misinformation. The female
It was
orcas
a lie-
apparently
It was a lie 20 years ago. Now it's misinformation.
yeah, whatever. They would
Or
live to be
disinformation,
100.
whichever one you
The
want.
males would live to be like like they pretty much had human lifespans, and they would just lie and say it was 30 years because in captivity they died at 35, but they couldn't, you know, for the most of the public they couldn't go yeah well these whales actually live 2 times or 3 times as long as this, but they can't live in captivity because they're relatively like cognizant animals that don't do well in captivity. I mean they can't keep sharks. It's like a known thing. You can't have a great
some sharks. Not
some
great
shark.
whites.
Well, hammerheads they can. Great whites like
Great
cannot.
whites cannot live in
They
captivity.
cannot live
They
in
just die.
captivity. They just die.
That's an amazing fact.
Crazy. And they don't really like know what that means. They just, like it's not like even they get what captivity means and they're choosing to die. It's a natural. They can't do it, which is so weird.
It's weird.
Like a human, you could lock up a human up and they say, I'm intentionally making a decision. I don't want to live like this. I will kill myself. Sharks, their bodies just give up.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah, that's a crazy.
Like biologically,
that's
doesn't
a
make
crazy
sense.
fact. Didn't they make a movie about the killer whales?
Jaws?
No.
Shamu?
Those are sharks.
Though when they free one, Free Willy.
Free Willy.
Free Willy. Yeah.
Remember?
No, I never saw that.
Yeah, they free.
He-
It's
he
a
escaped
he's
off
a
Free Willy.
circus.
He
Huh?
escaped at
You
the
ever
end.
saw Free Will?
Nope.
Yeah, he's like a circus. Not circus. A SeaWorld
He was
whale,
like a
whatever you
SeaWorld
call him.
whale, and then
I'll
they
see
said,
a lot
And
of
then
that.
he
would
jumps
escape,
over
right?
over the thing. Yeah. You guys have any thoughts
And
on
then
that?
everybody cries at the end.
No.
No, are you cool with it? You're against it? Is
I
it
don't.
fun?
None of that podcast you talked about with animals. I don't like any animal being locked up very long.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think the
Yeah.
problem with what you're saying is I've never seen a single person on the side of SeaWorld.
Well, I mean, a
think
lot of
although-
people, a
although-
lot of people
generally
patronize
would.
it. Apparently, we
SeaWorld,
went.
I think, is
Oh.
probably worse too, because like a whale, like how much room? He needs a lot of space.
They would put them the old. Not. I don't know about SeaWorld. They might have had larger
no but
places. Sealand, where Tilikum was like from the original place. They mentioned it specifically. They would have 3 killer whales who were big animals in a 20-foot wide by 30-foot deep
that's not big
like
at all.
tank. No, it's not. It's tiny.
not
They
big at all.
showed videos of them just like
Like
kind of
how much can
listlessly
you look up?
swimming around. It's
how
insane.
how far does a whale swim in a day? I feel like they like to
They
swim.
migrate hundreds of
That's what I'm
miles.
saying. And you put them in this little thing.
Yeah.
That's why sharks
They're gonna.
die.
I mean,
'cause-
I'm just. The thing that was sad about it is like you would hope. I mean, no, I don't want anybody to die, but like all of the people while it was going on, right? Like the general public, I think didn't know, but also there's sort of always that aspect of like, how much do you want to know, right? Could you assume that they're probably not treating the bears and the tigers in the zoo or in the
my.
circus that well? Yeah, but if you
I
don't,
think so.
if you don't ask, they don't tell you. You can watch it, enjoy it, and have fun with your family, kind of thing. It's probably similar with SeaWorld. You know, if you really look at like, you just imagine that they can't fit permanently in this space.
No.
But you don't. You hope at least that they're not, prodding the whales
Right,
with,
right.
whatever, like to make them do stuff. Which it doesn't seem like the trainers seem like they were relatively naive about what was like really how they were kept
Loose.
and like what was the truth about.
Does SeaWorld still have killer whales?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe they don't do the shows.
I mean,
People
the
aren't
place
allowed-
is still open.
People
There's
are
still
not
things
allowed to
going
be in the water with
on.
them. But also, I think they've just generally, with everything, there's much more scrutiny. So if they do have killer whales, I'd imagine now they have relatively, and like very good relatively to that time.
less killer whales.
No, not less killer whales, just however they keep them, whatever that process is of actual conservation is probably much better. Because I think it just has gotten better across the board, like in America in the last 20 years. For a while, it was sort of, Wild West as far as things like that went.
Yeah.
And like I said, like SeaWorld was sort of, thought of as like a pioneer, the way that you think of a zoo as conservation. And if I went to a zoo,
SeaWorld still has 18 killer whales in 3 different parks.
18.
Do
In
they still-
3 parks?
they don't do the shows with the people anymore, right? That was what the thing was
I don't
about.
think. I mean, I
They can like
I
throw
read-
them
So
stuff,
they
but they
have
can't
s-
be in the.
So they have 6 a
they don't
park,
ride
huh?
the whales.
Did they ever ride
Crazy.
whales?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to ride. They used to do. There was a bunch of crazy stuff.
I know it. I
Yeah.
knew they did the dolphins.
Yeah.
It
That's how
says
do
they
them.
still offer shows and tours where you can see killer whales up close, learn about their hunting techniques, and learn about their communication codes. I mean, we talked about this again, like in that zoo episode where it's geared towards conservation and doing what's better
They're
for
not.
them, and they do in the.
Well, SeaWorld, I don't know.
I don't know about.
I'm just so tempted-
I don't know about the killer whale.
After watching a documentary like this, I'm so tempted to not believe him because they even had the guy who caught the guy who caught Tilikum.
Mhm.
He's like, yeah, we legitimately just scare all these. Like they find a pod,
Right.
they scare them into a cove, they sort of cordon them off or whatever. Like they have the big nets, they have 2 boats go, and then just scoop out the babies, and they're like, these are smart animals.
Right.
Their moms are crying,
Right.
like the whole family. The guy was like in tears, talking about capturing it.
No, I know that. I'm saying like the zoos we talked about, right? The conservation society. They try and save endangered animals,
Yeah.
Yeah.
bring awareness to them, put
But
money
that's not
towards
like
it.
the circus and SeaWorld are different from that.
Yeah,
They're
I'm not talking about the
what I mean?
circus.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
We're talking about
SeaWorld's much
SeaWorld.
different. SeaWorld,
They were supposed to be conservation-y.
supposed to
They're
be
more
conservation-y
zooey. They're
too.
more zooey than circusy.
I mean, like,
Supposed to be.
killer whales shouldn't be in captivity. You could argue that point, but they probably have other things there that they care for and other research that they do. Like they must make money to fund other research that's going on. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying anything should be in captivity.
Yeah, we just especially got to let the ones go who are like at least semi-conscious. I don't get that. Like whales, dolphins, elephants, apes.
Monkeys.
Keep the ones that like don't know what's going on. That's fine.
Goldfish.
You know what I mean? But like aquariums is the best because I don't think, and I think we disagreed on this because like I know you're much more sympathetic to fish. I don't not like fish, but I completely think they have no idea what's like 99% of fish species
Don't know what's going
are just dumb fish. If you get
We
a big
still
enough
don't know
tank,
this.
they have no idea that they've been there before. There's a whole thing about goldfish memory. I don't know if it's true, but it's like a saying. You know what I mean? That like
Yeah,
fish, they're
that
so dumb.
by the time they get
5
around the
seconds, they
bowl,
get to the other
know.
side of the tank, and they're like, "Oh, this is new."
I don't think
You
that's
know,
true.
but like most fish,
Like,
even if they
what's her
do-
name in Nemo?
Dory.
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 Yeah.
I don't think this
Dory's
So
is
like
true.
fish, lock them all up, like keep them in. But like,
I have a goldfish.
but dolphins and whales, let them just roam.
And the goldfish.
Why do we? You know what I mean?
recognizes you?
No, yes, I have
No,
a,
it does not.
I have a. I'm gonna record it tomorrow. Send it to you. I have a goldfish, and I feed it every day before I leave the house, or around 7. And I walk around the table. The fish is there. As I get here, the fish is swimming, looks over at me, and starts wiggling. And then as I get closer, it goes up and waits for the food to drop. telling you.
Yeah, but it doesn't know you.
It recognizes
does.
it's going to get fed. I
No,
guess.
it knows me. It's like, hey, Johnny.
Hey,
Johnny.
Johnny. How you doing?
Hey, Johnny.
No, no. Still, same thing goes. Fish generally, and then like
It's a
bugs.
smart fish.
Bugs, right? You can keep every bug in the world in a terrarium thing,
You don't care.
and I don't care. Like I'm fine with it. I don't
That's
think,
just mean.
but I don't think any ants are like wrestling with the fact that they're in captivity in their heads. I think on some level, apes,
Yeah, but maybe.
elephants, I think they get it on some level.
But
like
ants
we
don't
said with
require
sharks,
a lot of
I don't
space,
think
that's why.
sharks have like the thought. Like I don't think they're
Sharks don't think about
thinking.
anything but eating.
Right, but I don't. But just the fact that there's some biological reaction that prevents them from captivity, I feel like elephants and gorillas, like apes, chimps, orangutans, they're too smart to not realize that, like, they're not, that there's other things outside of where they live, and they can't go to those places. You know what I mean? Like, it's even one thing if you, let's say, a gorilla in the zoo, but was born in the zoo. Yeah, I understand that they have no idea that the jungle exists. It's somewhere in there, like they'd feel at home. I mean, they have like a natural, you know what I mean? There's evolution and all that. But I do think they are smart enough that they understand, like they see through the glass and they're like, there is more. Where I am is a space that I exist in.
They want to get on
and
the
there's
other side
more
of the
space.
glass.
Like just that alone, I think they get
They
that.
have a
I don't
purpose.
imagine that they're, so dumb as that they
I
can't
think they do. I think they're
conceptually
researching
get that.
I agree.
And that's
Spatial
that's
awareness.
messed up.
You want to hear another orca fun fact?
Sure.
In the wild, male orcas live to an average of 30 years, maximum 50 to 60. And 46 years for females, maximum 80 to 90 years. At least 179 orcas have died in captivity. Imagine that.
Wow.
There you go.
I think another fun fact, I don't think there's been a single, other than in captivity, when they're in captivity, there's not a single recorded wild orca killing a person.
But
Like
you
a
heard
person death
you
from an
heard they
orca in the
started
wild. They've
attacking
killed
the-
like over, overall like a dozen maybe humans in captivity.
But you heard they started attacking ships, like, right, a couple of years
Yeah.
ago? In one place in the world.
I heard about that. They're probably fishing them or something,
Yeah.
They're
They're
smart
probably
animals.
capturing their
They're
babies.
smart. They remember stuff.
They're capturing their babies.
I wouldn't mess it up.
and-
Especially
and-
the
and
ocean. I would
they're
leave the
striking
ocean
back.
alone,
Isn't
man.
there a fish?
I would
that-
not mess with
You
like
don't know what's in
ocean,
the ocean.
those deep sea ocean animals.
Isn't there a, or is it just sharks that live a really long life? I thought there was one whale.
Turtles. Turtles.
Turtles
live a
do
long
too.
life.
Sharks. There's some sharks too.
Sharks live. Isn't there sharks that live like 100 years?
I don't know.
But I thought
Oh, you know what? There's this Greenland shark that lives forever.
Yeah, it's like 400 years old. I
Yeah.
think it's
That's
like
what
the
I'm saying.
oldest
It's a
one.
jellyfish.
They found like
But I
a
thought
they found like a hook in it from like there's some shark. There's some famous
But
story.
I
it
just
might not
thought
even be
there was
real.
one
but, like,
whale that lived
That
a
was
very
like
long time
400
too.
years old.
I was
or
like
something?
they found like a hook from the 18.
Greenland
30
sharks
still in it or
are
something like that.
estimated to live 250 to 500 years.
What? 500.
But there's
years.
jellyfish that might be immortal.
Yeah, there's the immortal jellyfish.
And
They're called
Immortal.
that.
That's what it's
Well,
called.
they're called that, and there's much debate I think as to like how much
living.
they sort of age to a certain point and then like rebirth themselves, but like they're not.
That's still cool.
But it's not the same as like an asexual. Like there are animals that have asexual reproduction where it just creates a copy of itself. It's not that. It actually is them. It's some process by which it's like. I haven't looked at it. I don't want to like spout off on it.
Alligators or crocodiles, they just die because they can't feed themselves anymore.
Yeah, I think.
Not because they can't, but they just can't feed themselves enough.
Yeah, I think there's
'Cause
like
they keep growing. right? Or
it's
something
either
like that.
that or large snakes. That they're like, if you looked it up, apparently, and again, I'm not like a zoologist or anything, but it's either an alligator or a snake. I can't remember one of the larger breeds of them. It might be alligators or crocodiles, where they're only like science doesn't really have a natural age. They're like hypothetically they can live forever, kind of like lobsters. Actually,
Right.
lobsters
Where lobsters
they
live
just
forever.
get bigger and bigger. Like they don't really have. It's not like when a lobster turns 35, it dies. They just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you know what I mean. But eventually, they either
They
get
just can't feed themselves.
poached or they can't eat enough. Like there's more
There's something-
restrictions
right.
because like the larger you get, the more food you need. You're not always in a rich environment, whatever. It's the same thing with either again large snakes or crocodiles, where like they just kind of keep getting bigger. Science isn't necessarily sure if they like 100 years they'll just die of old age. Like
So
old
there
age
could
might
be
not
like
exist
there could be
if
like
they lived in a
400-pound lobster somewhere. In the
somewhere
bottom.
hidden that's like a massive deep sea lobster, you know, but like other things constrain them as time goes on, but it's not, it's like very different than just a natural, like humans.
Right.
A natural death, you can just be old enough that one night your organs just shut off.
Right.
And that's like considered a natural death.
Right.
Nothing really happens. You know what I mean? It's not like your
Yeah.
body, it's just the thing. They're not sure that that happens for certain animals.
That's
like
wild.
truly, that if they were given enough food, space to roam, you know, ability to reproduce, all that, that they could live like hypothetically forever, which is the same thing with the jellyfish. That they're
That's
pretty
insane.
sure that these animals, unless they're eaten or otherwise killed, they will just, the same exact one will live on indefinitely.
I
which
want
is
to come
crazy.
back as a Greenland shark.
I don't know. I don't think long life is my thing.
No?
I don't think that'd be my thing.
You wouldn't want to be like a vampire.
Nah. Well, it depends. It depends on like the situation.
I
you know?
would love to live forever.
I think for most of the time it would be terrible. Now it would be awful. A couple hundred years ago maybe. But like if you're not over a long time, right, you would think you can at least make some money as a human. Let's say, right? You're saying come back as a Greenland
all
shark.
Draculas, for some reason,
Or rich.
they're all rich.
Yeah,
Right.
because
So-
you live
so-
forever.
If I started
So
rich,
just put that
yeah.
to the side.
Well, no,
The
because
first thing you got to do is you're going to have to go through some pain in your life.
everybody knows going to
Everybody
die.
knows going to die.
But you
Yeah.
get used to
Then
that
you're gonna meet
eventually.
Other people, but then you can't get close to those people because you know you're going to outlive them.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to think. It's got to be a different thought
I
process.
think you
for
just get bored.
You're like very
No,
transient.
you wouldn't
gotta
get
be
bored.
very
That's why-
transient.
Yeah, you got to.
How would you not get bored?
Because you get new friends all the time.
That's
I don't think you
not-
get bored. I don't think
Yeah,
that'd be
I
the
wouldn't get
biggest
bored.
problem of a
I think
vampire.
I think it would. Well, no, the biggest problem of a vampire would be not being able to be in the sun.
No.
Well, okay,
Second-
discount that one.
No,
Let's
you
say
get that ring.
modern
biggest
fun
problem-
vampires.
the
I mean, they
biggest-
don't have to do that.
You get the
biggest
ring.
problem of living
You go outside.
forever is boredom. I think.
No, I don't think. Listen, I don't think I get
There
it.
is-
We,
isn't
we started
infinite-
with the premise that you're rich.
There
so you
isn't-
can
I
Yeah.
know,
If we're
but
starting with
there
the premise
isn't
that you're rich, I'm cool with it.
Even
Yeah, no,
having-
If I have
start
to
with the
work
premise that
for
you're-
another
even
300
having-
Yeah, I'm
years,
not doing
no,
that.
you're rich.
Yeah.
like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That'd
No,
be crazy.
Over
even being
time, you'll
rich,
absorb
even
stuff.
being rich, sure, 300, 500, probably like I don't know, 1,000
Yeah, but
years will be really fun.
No, but forget
Right.
you're seeing like
At
the
that-
change of the world. So
Sure.
all this
Yeah,
world is
Yeah,
new.
yeah, it's sure 1,000 years is really fun. 10,000 years,
I would love it.
100,000 years,
Yeah.
a million years from now.
Absolutely awesome.
Bored. There's
No.
no way you want to live. No one has that high of a will to live.
How do you
Absol-
know?
how do you know?
How do you know your
Million years down the
consciousness is
line.
not going to go on for a million years as it is?
I don't.
You
I don't know, man.
But I won't be bored if I'm not. I won't be bored if I'm not in the physical world. Assumingly.
If you got a million years to live on Earth, you have to like reach nirvana at some point. So I just imagine
Which sounds
I'll
boring.
toil
It
and
doesn't
stuff.
sound
No,
boring.
dude, that's the whole opposite. It's
can't
not.
die.
It's,
I'm just looking at the
I'm
last.
saying
You can do
maybe the
anything
first
whenever you want.
the
I'm
first
just looking
couple
at,
hundred
like-
years,
Can't
I'm
die.
like
It's
I'm like
like-
learning how to do stuff and toiling or whatever.
And then you
then
gotta
the next
relearn.
500, I'm like I'm kind of bored. And then for the next like 3,000, I'm just like on a cliff in Nepal, learning how
No.
to meditate.
Yeah, I mean, you might have.
But that's what I'm
periods-
saying.
You know what I
I'm
you might
looking
have
at it.
periods of boredom. Like, what am I going to do?
No,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
think
but
about
like-
like if you were a
like
vampire.
1,000 years
Hold up.
Every
spans of
day's not going to be
How can you?
exciting.
I'm thinking about like if I was a
Yeah, like
vampire.
John's
back in the-
point, the world's changing, so it's like
That's
every
right,
10
like-
years is like
Exactly.
New
If
stuff
I
to
was
do.
born in the Renaissance world, like that's crazy. 1,000 years of that, maybe not. But now, 100 years, look at it, and it keeps changing. Like it's cool,
Yeah, but then it just keeps changing.
and it's
So
like a
what?
whole new life.
But it's not. It's a whole new life. Yeah.
No.
Until you do it.
I'd be like,
you know,
Dude,
like
imagine
Kim
how
said,
good you could get
I-
at things.
I would learn to
5,600,000.
speak
That's
every
the
language.
most unhappiest young kid ever.
Yeah,
met.
I would
Yeah.
learn every language.
I disagree.
You know how many
Right.
skills
Yeah.
I
that
think-
people would be like, dude, you meet that guy Johnny?
alright,
He's
here.
like 25.
let
or
me
You
whatever.
just do
ask-
every little
Yeah,
thing.
he's like a jack of all trades. He can do everything. I
That
don't
would
even-
be cool.
I don't even know how he knows to do all that.
I would
Yeah,
live
that'd
for
be
like
awesome.
that 150th year thing when you learn all the instruments and stuff, and you're just like
Exactly.
all cut like you know your whole like you had the whole grieving over your initial set of people.
Right.
Right.
And you're like, I can't really love anybody. You
Yeah.
like you do all that, like typical
Then it-
whatever.
yeah,
But now you
it's
know
not
you're
healing.
just man, you're just at some party
Yeah.
and you're just like
Like,
playing
dude,
guitar,
this
playing
is the
piano,
coolest
and
guy
people
ever.
are like, this
Alright.
guy's
This
nuts.
guy's the coolest.
That would be cool. That would be
Oh
cool.
yeah, I would love it.
Quoting
People
books and
around
stuff.
you are
Hell
going to
yeah.
keep you happy. Like they're always going to be interested in you.
disagree.
Yeah, you'd be the smartest,
Of course
coolest
you
guy in the
disagree. You're
world.
a freaking unhappy person.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy knowing that
No.
I don't have to live forever. that makes me very
What?
happy. Yeah,
I
that makes me
never
very
heard.
happy
I
and-
never
So
heard
my
anyone
only
say
my
that.
my
You
main
never
qualm.
heard. You never heard
is the
people
money
say,
thing.
You never heard people say that life is only worth living because it ends. You never heard anyone. say
No, no, I've never heard
It's
that.
like a that's
and
like
that's
a
a sick. That's
I've
like
heard
a
it.
that's like a
You
sick
guys-
person thing
no,
to
it's
say.
not. You guys, you can't live in fear of dying. Like you can't just be like, oh,
I
if I live
fear dying
forever.
every day.
That's wrong. You shouldn't.
Ever since I had a child, that's the only thing I think about now, dying.
Well,
And I'm like, I never want to die.
and
It's
I'm
really
the most
weird, bro.
depressed
It's the
person.
cr-
I'm the most
scariest
depressed
feeling.
one.
Well, I feel like you're just not having fun with the idea of living
The
forever.
idea is fun.
No.
Have you ever read Tuck Everlasting? I think this is what threw me off on it.
No.
So when I was little, I read Tuck Everlasting, and that's kind of what it covers is like the problems with living forever.
All right, so forget about forever.
If you're talking about like true
Forget
true
about
immortality,
forever.
I
If you live
understand.
for 500 years.
If I
that-
awesome,
Like, what would
awesome.
your limit be?
500 years. I would say probably like 1,000 years. 1,000. I think
Alright,
is
that's
a
pretty
limit.
good.
I think once you get past
So after
that,
1,000 years, just
becomes-
make a pact with somebody, cut your head off, stab you in the heart, and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
There you go.
bury
Go into-
you under
go into the
concrete
sun.
or
You have the
something.
option.
Go.
Whatever it
You
is.
do die if you do something as a vampire.
yeah.
So go into
Go
the
in
sun.
the sun. Just like
Well,
enjoy
no,
that
like
one.
I
Jump
day
in
in the
holy
sun.
water.
That's the biggest problem with being a vampire.
Jump in the holy water.
Or being having to be invited inside of other people's houses. That
You can die as a vampire, so you'll just have to after
Yeah.
1,000
See,
years
I-
make a pact.
No,
with
that's
somebody to
fine.
kill
I'm
you.
just saying to actually have to live forever.
Matt's
I think
doing like all the
How
vampire.
crazy would it be if you became a vampire in real life? Like that would be nuts to begin with, right? Let's say you just happen you're in. Is Transylvania a real place?
Yes.
You're in Transylvania and you're like you legit get bit by it somehow. You're like in a
Oh,
cave. I don't know.
I love
right?
it.
by a vampire.
No, but then so first you have to contend. You're like, oh my god, this is real. The guy's like, yeah, you're a vampire now. You gotta do all these things, yada yada. And he's like, and you gotta watch out for the hunters. And you're like, are you telling me, in real life, there's actual also legitimate vampire hunters?
Right.
That would upset me so bad because for the whole part of my prior knowing life, I didn't like. I thought it was fake.
Right.
To find out that there are really vampires and vampire hunters
People
running
hunting you
around.
down.
Oh man, but that'd be so cool.
Wait, that
but
brings
at
up a
that
good
point, it'd be
point, though.
bad, you know. Then you'd be
If,
like, ah.
if you're going through all those stories, your fear of being alone, you can turn someone else into a vampire as well. And now you have a vampire
My fear isn't
soulmate.
being alone. My fear is being bored.
No, I don't want that.
I don't want that.
I don't
I don't want that.
I'll take B.
Oh, God.
Whatever B is, I'll take B.
Oh, Kim didn't hear that over there.
She got her headphones on.
Oh, good.
I'll tell her not to listen to this episode. Don't listen to the whale episode that turned into
At-
the
No,
vampire
come on.
episode.
I don't
At
know.
27 minutes
That's
in.
one of those things. You
While
think
we're on the
I
topic
feel
of
like it's a
vampires, let
recipe
me
for
just plug
disaster.
This movie, $1.99 on
Oh,
what did I
God.
say?
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, $1.99. Seymour the Unfortunate Vampire. Take a look.
What is it? Have you seen that?
No, not yet, but I saw the
Oh,
I saw
okay.
the trailers for it and stuff. A friend of mine made a movie and put it out.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
cool,
okay.
cool.
So everybody should check it out.
Yes. We won't judge it yet. We'll talk about it next
We
week.
can talk. We could do a review if everybody watches it.
Oh, yeah.
We could do a movie review.
I'll do a review of it.
Actually, we could bring them in.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
We could bring the director and the producer in to talk about it. That would
Okay.
be interesting
Nice.
because those are Wayne and Joe are interesting people. Man.
Oh, Wayne made it?
Well, I
Yeah.
know Wayne
Oh,
is.
cool.
Yeah. I'd
That's
be
cool.
Wow.
So maybe we'll do that.
That's really weird. We went into vampires and then you had a movie to bring into it.
Right?
Right.
It all just worked out.
It really
Wow,
did.
we started at orcas.
Yeah.
We went into vampires.
Wow.
Well, and we only went for
Only 20-something.
22 minutes.
Oh, look at us.
What other weird animal?
Well, you guys did not care at all. I thought people would care more about the orca thing. I guess your point is we're all on the same side.
Like no, but
Well, let's
yeah,
bring it back
there's
to
no
the fish
conversation.
thing.
Like, I feel
what
like
do you
most
think?
people
How do
are
you
agree
think a
with you.
jellyfish feels about living forever? Man? Like it doesn't.
jellyfish.
How do you think
This is
jellyfish
a
have a
very interesting.
consciousness?
Not only do
It knows
they
nothing that's
they
going
hardly
on.
have a central nervous system.
they
They're
just float
practically
around.
not
Hardly
animals.
living, yeah, they're hardly.
They're
living.
hardly alive.
I
Like
know.
whatever
That's what
we
I was gonna
consider
say.
alive. Which is funny. No, they're really just like floating blobs of like matter.
Yeah, they
Like,
hardly
it's-
exist. Yeah.
They have a living process, but they're not. I'm pretty sure at least most of them don't have a central nervous system, so they have no way to feel things. You know what's crazier than all this? Than anything about well, not crazier than anything about animals, but I believe I don't know if this is like new. I just saw a video about it, so I'm gonna consider it new to myself. Plants, at this point, like new science or whatever, they're completely alive and experiencing stuff.
See?
You know,
Yeah,
what are
they
vegans
always
gonna do?
They always have.
That's
What
not
are
true.
vegans gonna do?
Hey, when
They
you
always
say
No,
experience and
they-
stuff, what do you
Apparently,
mean?
I don't know how they
Feel
find this stuff out. They have like memory. They have when you eat
Memory
them.
of what?
When you eat them, they send out signals.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Plants.
Oh, plants.
They
yeah.
feel pain.
En masse.
Yeah.
En
They
masse.
feel
They feel
pain?
pain.
Mhm.
They
feel
can.
pain.
Apparently, they have some.
I'm so glad I don't like salad.
Apparently, in some capacity, they can see stuff.
What?
Like if you, not kidding, this
See
is one of the
or sense.
sense, see, whatever it is. It's like some process that we don't understand because I saw a video. I'm not like double checking everything I see
Now I
online.
feel like those two plants there are just
The-
watching us.
these-
No,
staring
but
at
like
us.
if you have
Who put
so, like,
this stuff out, Mike? Like some ranchers and some cattle.
Some
ranchers?
cattle-
all I'm saying is,
Put this information out?
I have to look it up more. So should everybody.
Kill
It's
the-
just interesting to
stop
think
the
about.
vegans
Who's
out there.
the
No, but
United
look.
Association of Cattle Ranchers?
How about this?
Put
How
information.
about this? How about this? Because this I do know about. Right? There was an old. This is like from when I was a kid. This was like one of the typical science fair projects. There's like two versions, right? One of them is you have two plants. One of them you only say positive things to.
Yeah,
One of them you only say negative things to, and the positive one actually grows better.
I don't say anything to my plants.
It's
But
true.
like that
That's
alone,
why they
that
don't
is a
someone-
thing.
I know
like,
someone who did that
That's
experiment.
what?
I've seen that
That's why your
experiment.
plants don't grow. You
That's
never got a
true.
fig out of your
Unless
fig
it's
tree.
all lies
Right?
and like
Yeah,
everything,
that fig
which
tree
I
is
doubt.
not-
I should
I've
stop
seen someone
talking
do
to the
that
bamboo.
experiment. I
That
think
fig
they
tree
did
is
it with
like-
apples.
Bamboo.
Yeah, probably multiple.
Wait, I don't like you,
It's
bamboo. I
petrified.
don't like you.
Mike, here's the thing.
And then there's
if,
also-
if they ever prove that plants do feel,
Oh, that's gonna send.
What
the
are vegans
world.
gonna
vegans
do?
are gonna justify their lives that the plants were meant to
Well,
be.
they have
You think they'll
less-
stick with plants? They
gonna
won't
justify
switch
it
back.
They don't have hearts.
They're
so
just
they
they
can't
gonna-
talk,
They're
they
gonna
can't talk.
justify it. They're just gonna because the belief is that animal from what I've seen, vegans associate animals with having sentience. They don't actually understand. Like they know that there's a difference
know.
between humans
Big
and
word
animals,
again.
obviously.
Big
You
word.
know
Big word alert.
sentience.
But
Big
you know
word
what
alert.
That's not a big
sentience
word.
Big word
is.
alert.
It's not a big word. Anyway, they have sentience.
It sounds really
They-
big by the time it gets down this end of the table.
They believe. Just read.
I couldn't.
Something,
I wouldn't even know
anything.
how to read the word.
Audiobook.
Give a
Well,
definition
that's,
at
that's not
least.
going to help an audiobook. He's going to hear the
Anyway.
word.
I know.
Anyway.
Sentium. What's
What
that
you need to
mean?
do is buy him a dictionary for
Look at,
Christmas.
oh my god. Anyway,
Can you give a definition,
I think
please?
That, I think that no.
And
I think,
spell it.
I think that
Use it as a
vegans.
sentence.
I think vegans
Shut down.
believe that animals have some sort of sentience. They
Okay.
obviously know that it's separate from humans, but I think that they have it, and so that would be their justification. Obviously, they're saying, oh, but it's plant. They don't have the same. They don't have the same
Well-
like emotion. Like they basically like they.
They'll
think
always
that
be
a
able to
cow,
deny it.
They think a cow can cry is like their thing.
Yeah.
That a cow actually will get sad
Cows
and
cry?
No, they don't.
So here's
How do you know?
all I'll say about that
You ever
is
you
just
ever heard
live
of
and let
cows
live,
feel?
man. Live and let live. Do what you want. Be a vegan. I don't care. Just don't tell me not to eat meat,
Exactly.
and I'm happy.
It is interesting though.
We can be good friends.
I'm not a vegan at all. I think it's dumb generally, and everything. But it is interesting to think about that. Like for pretty much as far as I understand, every meat eater, there is a line of like at what point does an animal stop becoming food
Yeah.
and become either a pet
Like dogs,
or
yeah.
or gross or like anything. You know what I mean? Like there's like a handful of staple like chickens, pigs, cows, right? And then it's like then they have like this sort of I guess you would call them like more exotic, not exotic, but like there's venison, elk, like things that are normal but just not everywhere.
Yep.
But then there's like I don't know if I'd ever eat a monkey. If it was offered to me, if I was in some part of the world where they do
Because
eat
of their
them.
sentience.
Yeah, just but it's just a thing. Or like better example,
But
dogs.
But it's,
Dogs, right? Like I
But that's
don't think if I was
cultural
off,
though, Mike. That's
cultural.
because
Right,
you,
but it's
you
just-
feel like it shouldn't be.
but every person has
yeah,
like a
yeah.
limit. I don't think the same thing exists for plants. I doubt there's anybody who's like, I'll eat broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and this, but I won't eat carrots. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just plants. Like that is clearly one thing.
No,
I think every meat eater has a level of
Yeah.
whatever their
yeah, because
whatever the
there's-
reason is, whether it's like I
there's
just never ate it
there's
before.
No love for the plants. There's no love for
Right.
the plants. They just feel like they're unfeeling things that
Yeah.
are meant to be eaten.
Yeah,
you
so
know?
you're saying even the animals that you do eat, you have feeling for. You're just like it's part of the circle.
But
Fair
but,
enough.
But
I'm just saying-
culturally,
I'm just making an interesting
culturally, you were
point.
brought up to eat them.
Right. Yeah.
Like it was okay to do that because, like, I know people in other cultures that eat other things, and it's natural to them, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah. You know they eat puffins.
I mean,
I
personally,
can't. I
think
would
I'm
never eat
addicted.
bugs.
I think
I wouldn't eat bugs.
I can't eat bugs. I can't. And that
That's
I
disgusting.
was not brought up to eat
I
bugs.
think I
nor
wasn't just
do
brought
they
up
look
that way.
appetizing
I
to
think
me.
I'm addicted.
The bugs?
The bugs?
It's like cheeseburgers. Like I think it's
Oh.
not like it's not
Well,
just
that
that I
was
was
a
brought
pivot.
up. I
Whoa.
think I actually wouldn't enjoy not eat. I think I would enjoy life less if I didn't have cheeseburgers.
Oh, I think a
I'm-
lot of
I'm-
people.
I feel like I feel the same way about pasta.
If I couldn't have
Johnny
a
feels the same
protein
way
though,
about
Yeah, that's what I'm
heroin.
saying. is
About
that-
what?
Yeah,
Heroin.
It's an addiction. That's what I mean. Is that I
Gotta
think
eat
it's
my
just
heroin.
It's
like-
an addiction. That's
You want pasta?
I
Really?
love pasta.
I know you
Yeah.
love pasta, but that's like
Oh,
top.
But
I wouldn't have thought pasta was your top.
why?
I don't know. I know you like a lot of
I
food.
wouldn't
I didn't
say
think
it's my
pasta
top, but
was your
I
thing.
also would say I would
It is.
enjoy life
No.
less if I couldn't
Pasta.
eat.
I know your thing's burgers. Like
No,
every,
no,
you
but I
have
mean for
burgers all the
pasta
time.
as well. I'm saying I think I enjoy life
Yeah, but
less
I
if
knew
couldn't eat
pasta was your
pasta.
thing.
no,
It's just-
I would have
burgers,
serious
sorry.
problems if I went vegan.
So
What-
Matt
what-
can
what
live-
is-
Matt can live 500 years?
Like, just
but
no
he's not allowed
proteins?
to have hamburgers. Then what?
I wouldn't do it.
Just take your head off and put the steak in the hot.
Mm.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't do it.
Pasta and hamburgers.
What do you like, Mike? What's your addiction? Well, don't
My
tell
addiction?
us all your addictions, just food addictions.
You're one they're saying.
A Taco Bell. I don't know food I like a
Who
lot.
up he goes to Taco Bell?
I don't have
so
like a
often?
food. I don't have like a.
Like
I know
food
we're
that-
kidding. I don't have like a food addiction.
Food you can legitimately never quit. I mean,
No, like your
like food
like
you
you
act-
eat like you can
get
eat every
rid-
day.
If you get rid of this food,
My life?
your
Well,
life
well,
decreases in value.
I'm saying in general it would
Don't
be. I
generalize
just
it,
couldn't
specific.
protein. I could. Well, like okay.
In general, it's meat stuff.
Yeah, like
You don't have
right.
one
In
for-
general,
I'm just
meat-
saying
it's
vegan-
pizza for
well-
myself as well, but
yeah, like
I could eat pasta 7 days a week.
Really?
I could.
Okay.
And
okay.
pasta,
So a
like,
food that if I could never
the
have it again, it
pasta's
would
tough
lower
because you can
my.
have so
I was
many
Lower
gonna
your life.
say,
so many
is it
different
is it
sauces and
variety?
stuff like that.
It's
like,
a
what would
variety.
be the,
Variety.
what would be the
Okay.
It's
hardest
not
thing
just like
to give up?
macaroni
I was
with
gonna
marinara
say.
sauce and stuff like that.
Right, meatballs and
Michael couldn't give up short ribs. He loves short ribs.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like meat in general, I get like beef. Let's just
Mm.
say beef.
Yeah,
I think that's my favorite type of meat.
I agree.
Pork's good.
Beef is my
Can we
favorite.
Chicken's my least
Can we
favorite.
plug Tony Baloney's short rib?
How good is that?
What is it called? The,
Tony
the
Baloney.
bologna
Oh, the
Rex?
bologna Rex.
Oh my god.
bologna Rex.
It's got
Really
it's
good.
got
They
a
got good
whole
food.
short rib in it.
Their cheesesteak was good too that I had.
That other sandwich we had was good too.
Yeah, good food.
Tony Baloney's in Hoboken.
Tony bologna.
Yeah, Hoboken.
Hoboken.
Yeah, I think they have multiple locations. There's one in Atlantic
Excellent
City.
food. Excellent food.
Yeah,
Okay.
we gotta get one of these. We gotta get a sponsor.
Well, yeah. Well, if we get some listeners,
Yeah, maybe sponsor first. You know,
If we get them out
then
weekly,
listeners.
get 1,000, 1,000,000 listeners, we'll be all right.
if we get them out weekly, we'll at least get 2 more listeners this year.
We'll try.
True.
Anyway, let's wrap it up. We went through. We went from Tillicum to Killer Whale,
Mhm.
who killed 2
Three,
trainers,
three
and-
people.
3.
2 trainers and a potential wanderer into his pen for some reason.
Yes.
Um,
Then vampires.
Trespasser.
and then into vampires.
How did that come up anyway?
Because there's
Well,
like
Time.
animals that live
longevity.
a long-
Oh, okay,
Animal-
right.
By the way,
It was a
just-
fun fact about orcas.
Just one last note.
Love
they-
your notes.
As far as I can tell, the Greenland sharks are the longest living animal on Earth, up to 500 years. Because I don't consider a glass sponge.
Did you look up longest animal,
Yeah,
or
I
you
did.
just?
I
And
did.
it is a Greenland shark.
Well, that's a second
What
on the
about a
list.
mortal jellyfish?
Glass sponges, which are rare
Sponges,
organisms.
those don't count.
I know, 15,000 years.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how they track that, but 15,000
Yeah,
years.
That's
who tracked it?
I have no idea.
that's crazy.
And,
A vampire.
That's cra-
Greenland sharks are second on the list. Bowhead whales, 200 years.
That's pretty good.
Giant tortoises, I thought were longer, to be honest with you, but
What are
all it says is over 100 years old.
Well, I think
That's
the
it? I
oldest.
thought they were
think the
longer, too.
oldest was over 200 years old, but they're saying an average. They don't
I-
have-
I'll tell you
have an
what,
average.
You know,
see,
I'm gonna say something that's very controversial.
You don't
Again?
like tortoises?
The more the more and more every day when I hear one of these things that you like look up and it's like, oh, Google says a lot. I don't think anybody knows any of this stuff
I don't
when it
think
comes
so.
to science.
Right.
Medical science, I'm in. I've seen it work. I don't know the lifespan of a tortoise. I don't believe that all these guys know. How would you know? 500 years.
The rings.
Who has been keeping track for
The
that
rings.
long?
No, you.
The rings of what? A tree, maybe.
No, no.
I'm saying
on a tortoise, the shell, the size, and those things are supposed to be years.
I don't
but
believe.
how do you know?
I don't
How do
believe.
count
Like,
them.
and you saw 10 of them, and you're like, this is all of them. Like this.
You
So
You
think
went-
about the
you went to
variability
wrong
in
field,
humans.
Man, you could have learned all of that.
If what?
you-
Nah, dude, you're assuming that they're
Being
right
a
about
scientist.
everything. I'm starting to believe
We'll do
that they kind of
that
ballpark.
Science is right about everything.
do
Yeah, well,
Science.
because
Science,
see, you're doing science with the big S, and now it's like, oh, we gotta science. All those guys know what they're talking about.
No,
You
let's
don't
not-
know. We
let's
don't
not go
know
there.
what they're doing.
That's another episode.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought.
All
Wrap
right,
this
all
up
right, all right.
because we could do science in a whole nother episode.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, if we start rolling on it now, it's going to be at least a half hour
Okay,
of science
all right,
talk.
all right. I'll hold on to it.
Tune in
Thanks
one
for
day
listening,
for the science.
everybody. And as always,
Stay angry, annoyed, and amused.